Alright, so I'm James Craig, and I normally talk about books and literature and such. But lately I've been playing this game called Planet Crafter with my brother because co-op video games are fun. It's a pretty straightforward game. You and the other players that you are playing with in this world get dropped onto this horrid desert planet with nothing growing on it, and you get told, terraform it, fix it up, and your sentence will be commuted. This is basically a death sentence. And you start building one thing into another. You collect resources, and the whole gameplay is terraforming a planet. And it's actually pretty decent base building. Nothing too special about it, but I wasn't really looking for anything special. Things got a little weird at a few points, but I'm not gonna. This isn't like a tech dev or something of it. As you explore, you start finding other wrecks. You start finding other ships that have been here, and you start finding records of them and how they failed to terraform this planet. Because when you show up, it's definitely still a wreck. And the wrecks are kind of like dungeons to explore. They're a really good way to get loot in the game. And then you're exploring. Right now, I'm like somewhere between rain and lakes for what it's worth. I haven't beaten the game. I just wanted, when I got to this part, I said, I should make a video about it. You might actually notice I'm like dying right now because I'm exploring in the desert. I have no oxygen, I have no water, and I'm running out of food. Oh, by the way, super realistic base building physics right here. Just no supports whatsoever. Who cares? This area is basically where I looted a bunch of stuff from this, which is what I want to talk about in two phases. Because this is where like the story comes from to an extent. Because you can climb down here, and you can get to this person. Well, I wasn't expecting my landing site to be so bad, but there it is. There is no reason for me to not be able to terraform this big rock. I have enough knowledge to succeed. All I have to do is follow the right steps and hope for good weather and not too many meteors. Surely it can't be that hard. Spoilers, obviously, for about 8 hours into the game, depending on how fast you play. It's been harder than expected. The outside is toxic, and the seeds won't really grow underground. According to my calculations, the planet will be in a better position for terraformation in about 2 years. I just have to survive until then. Then you can explore deeper through all the stuff that you would think you would be able to just salvage for yourself, because these are just like vegetable tubes to make O2, like yours. But you can't, because that's not programmed in. This is just a dungeon, essentially. I don't have a tier 2 deconstruction. But as you go down deeper into this, you have to keep going step by step by step and working through the debris. And where am I supposed to find more iridium on the planet? I have looked everywhere without success, and there's ice all over. It's critical I find some to start heating the planet. Everything outside is freezing. I need to sleep, but I cannot stop thinking. Tomorrow will be better. Such a sentence for something so small is inhumane. I don't deserve this. Which is kind of extra funny if you ask me, because iridium is literally like 100 yards away from here. But you can go down, and you see, oh, there's messages. Welcome to your assigned planet. Your mission is to advance the terraformation process of this world. You'll need to generate O2, heat, and pressure. First reach 175,000 Ti and create a blue atmosphere. That is the message you get at the beginning of the game. It's here. And it's here. And here. And here. And here. And here. And there. 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 Again and again and again with no change. Through wall after wall after wall after wall. Until it's everywhere. Until it is overwhelming. Again and again and again. You sent me here to die. You knew it was impossible. You don't even care. All you care about is profit and colonization. Whoever thought this was a good idea should go to hell. A pardon was never part of the plan. Be cursed, Sentinel Corp. That is how this game is doing lore. And, well, a lot of games seem to do lore like that, where they kind of hide these spooky, incomplete messages from people before, where that leave you wondering. It's like every game is doing that. And unfortunately, they're doing it for like a reasonable reason that is just kind of lame, in my opinion. I have to restock because there's a second thing I want to show here. So after you get that, you can come around west here. So again, uh, as you're flying on your infinite thrust jetpack that doesn't actually go particularly fast or particularly high, you can wind up in the rare zone region, which is super important because here you can find, well, that's magnesium. You can start finding osmium and zeolite and other stuff for advanced building, which is actually like a very effective way to progress the game. Is in order to build more advanced structures, to do more terraforming, to unlock more things, you need to go find resources that are not available at your site, because exploration is fun. And the further away from spawn, the further away from your base and your resources and the things that keep you alive, the harder it is to get there. You have to keep making little outposts. So you get a rough idea of how long somebody will be playing by the time they come around to, where is it? Somewhere around here. That was supposed to be dramatic timing, but I'm doing this live soon. Until they find this. This dead, decaying desert planet has an underground, and you get an achievement for this, underground mushroom river. Ooh, spooky alien plants. What do you mean? Why am I terraforming this planet? What could be here? And the kicker to this is it's almost impossible to build anything here because you can't destroy the mushrooms. So you can't actually set up a base here. It's kind of stupid. But this is just more, ooh, what is this alien history to this planet? There's this special lore that we have to look into. And you can come over here, and you'll get a warden's key, which is not in my inventory anymore, and a set of coordinates to go find. Ooh, mystery. Ooh, ah. Every single, like, low development game seems to do this kind of crap. And I want to blame them for lack of originality. But I kind of can't. Because there's good reason to do this. Namely, it's trivial to write. Not all, like, any type of story, you could say, is just as good as another type. But they all have different amounts of effort to reach that good. It takes, like, no writing skill whatsoever to write this. Because the natural gameplay takes care of the pacing problem. I'm going to die. With this kind of mystery, first of all, it doesn't require an NPC, which is hugely important for reducing the effort of making the game. And an NPC would also kind of just get in the way of that rock's not supposed to be there. An NPC would just kind of get in the way of the actual gameplay, because the core gameplay they never lose track of is terraforming a planet all on your own. So if they were to give you help, like, they'd be screwing up the game. Messages from dead people before get to hint and imply at things in very, like, well-established ways to set up ambiguous anticipation. And because the gameplay takes care of the pacing problem, because the whole idea is you're supposed to, like, realistically, by the time you find the next piece of the puzzle, you've been distracted setting up algae and crop growers, and you've probably almost forgotten the last thing you found. Like, you know that there's some stuff going on, but you've been playing the game, and then you get this other teaser of a different appeal to the game, which is mystery. So the, like, hardest aspect of writing, which is pacing and character, is completely irrelevant to this type of story. And it's just kind of like, okay, I guess I really don't blame people for designing this game like that. Also, because channels like Game Theory, and I guess now me in that shadow, made it the optimized thing to do, because if Game Theory decided to bless a small developer with a video about their spooky lore because they thought it was an interesting puzzle to pick apart for, like, viewers, those games would get hundreds and hundreds of thousands of sales, like, overnight from that. And that is the kind of exposure a dev can only dream of. So as soon as that became normal, it was just the meta. You had to do it. You had to give people something to speculate about, on top of functional gameplay. Because people would show up for functional gameplay, and then you're offering them something to get invested in, by speculating and waiting for new updates. Because, like, it is something that keeps people playing with a promise of, oh, well, more is coming. More is coming, don't you know? Because you have to release a game long before you could do the whole thing. And you wouldn't even necessarily want to do the whole thing. Because what you can do with this model is start getting feedback and watching how people are discovering things and what people are about, and then you can curate the future content and pretend it was your plan the whole time. That's what good creatives do. They reward players or consumers who are getting invested by giving them more. They don't do what, say, certain TV showrunners do, where they intentionally screw up the plot just to spite people for guessing too accurately. Because guessing what's going to come means you paid attention and it was well foreshadowed. You should be able to guess what comes normally. It's not something for a showrunner to spitefully change for internet clout. But that is a long video just to say that indie devs are basically stuck with spooky horror plots because they're easy, they're hard to screw up, and they can be largely driven just by coming up with cool ideas as you go. Like, there's no real connection between how to write somebody stranded in space going crazy and a mushroom river. Those are just different ideas that can get piled together. And because they're isolated from each other, you don't really have to link the causes and the connections between them. You leave that to the imagination. Like, that's an iceberg theory type of writing. And it works. If you start going through the list of, like, what other types of story could you even tell, you couldn't tell a comedy like this. Almost every other story can't be told because it requires other characters. You could try and tell some kind of monster horror piece with a more direct threat if they wanted to code in monsters, but my experience is satisfactory. Having monsters screw up your base is not fun. It's a pain in the ass. So what? A drama story or revenge story? You need other characters. The only story that you can tell with a solo character like this, where it's interactive, is like spooky mystery. Can't you go find out my super deep lore? Maybe there's a way around it. If someone is out there doing an indie game dev and they are trying to do a different type of story, I'd be very interested. I want to see how someone is tackling the problem, because it's a difficult problem. But if someone can solve a difficult problem, it leads to, like, really good solutions. You can get a really good product by overcoming a limitation. But until then, tune in for live streams where I play video games, I guess, or buy one of my books. Low-Key Connections is available now. I also have a link to my Gilded, where where the free book club is. We're reading Fyodor Dostoevsky's Notes from Underground right now. Like and subscribe. Cheers.